Hello YouTube. So I decided I'd try something a little bit different. I'm on my way to the clinic and I normally get off at Thomas, but it occurred to me that it might be, since I'm coming from Tempe, that it might actually be quicker to get off at Encano and walk from there. So I guess I'm about to find out. So anyway, it is 2:35 p.m. Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. I don't believe I have ever used this light rail station before. And as you see, it's not particularly busy, but I've criticized the location of the stations many times, and this is one of those that, sometimes it seems like the light rail has its stations in such a way to kind of highlight certain attractions in Phoenix and obscure less than desirable parts of town, and also try to keep the riffraff that's at those less desirable parts of town from getting on the train as easily. That's how it's always felt to me. I mean, the lack of a station at 32nd Street and 32nd Street and Washington, also the lack of a station at 16th Street and Washington, to me, are glaring examples of trying to hide the riffraff. Encano doesn't go through where the station is at Cano, where I just got off in Canto Boulevard. And Encano is the same thing as Oak Street, the street I live on. And I'm walking down Vernon. Vernon does go through to 3rd. I'm on my way to 3rd Street. And now I'm having second thoughts about that, because remembering that 3rd Street is under construction. I have not walked down Vernon in a long time, and I forgot just how beautiful these houses are here. I can only imagine what these things are valued at now. And this has always been a pretty nice, centrally located street. But imagine these houses are in the definitely over $1 million. And it's not even like they're so big. It's just all about location. But yeah, really gorgeous houses, really gorgeous street. And these people probably never use the light rail, I would imagine. Seeing some pretty nice vehicles here. But I think the main reason that they have that stop there at Encano is because that's where the Heard Museum is. Which, granted, is a pretty, noteworthy attraction, but how many people that are needing transit to get around are headed there, as opposed to how many people that are needing transit to get around really would like to be able to transfer to a 16th Street bus or a 32nd Street bus, or live in those neighborhoods, because people that live around that area, they don't have money for nice cars. Anyway, throwing that out there. So, feeling really good about how productive I've been today. And getting so distracted by what a beautiful street this is. I'm really glad I decided to walk this way, if for nothing else than a nice change of scenery and look at some really beautiful homes. God, it's nice to see, and I remember some of these houses being in pretty bad shape in the 1990s. So it's nice to see them all. Every single house on this block is just is just very well kept. And there's other parts of town that have similar architecture, but the houses are really run down. So, and that, boys and girls, is what we call gentrification. Anyway, absolutely, this may be one of the most scenic residential streets, especially from an architecture standpoint. Residential architecture house standpoint in all of Phoenix. This is really gorgeous. Some nice cacti too. And palm trees. Oh, speaking of palm trees, I've been subscribed to the City of Phoenix YouTube channel for a while, and they just did, mostly when I go on there, honestly, I just go on there in the comment section to contradict everything that they say about, because they put up stuff promoting transit and promoting, oh, we're adding this bike-friendly infrastructure. I'll go in there to put them on blast for what's wrong with it, because yeah, that's nice that you guys are making a neat little front to put on your YouTube channel, but I actually use these things and they suck. But they put something really different on this week. They put up a mini documentary about the very first palm tree in Phoenix and how palm trees became to be a part of Phoenix. And I as a damn near lifetime Phoenician, what are you doing, dude? I just had a weird thing with that guy in the Nissan does not know what the hell he's doing. He's trying to find an address, but and he's on the phone. And he's old. Good times. Anyway, yeah, palm tree documentary. As somebody who's grown up in Phoenix, I've just really taken the palm trees for granted. In fact, there's just palm trees everywhere. In fact, one of my best friends back in the 1990s, rest his soul, his name was Wes. He got multiple sclerosis, and it took him out in the early 2000s. But when I met him, and he was actually a cab driver for me for a couple of years when I owned my own cabs. But anyway, he was, when I met him, he trimmed palm trees for a living. He actually shimmied up those tall-ass trees with some special spikes and straps. And yeah, talk about a job I could never do. I'm way too freaked out by heights. Just the thought of doing that is just terrifying to me. But that's what he did. If memory serves, he usually did it high. But he'd shimmy up the top of those trees, and as you can kind of see, there's some dead leaves on those really tall ones. I'm sure the trimmers charge a lot extra for ones that are that tall. But yeah, I used to shimmy up and trim those leaves down, keep the trees looking nice. So anyway, yeah, it never really occurred to me that, yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of a no-brainer that that's not a, native Sonoran desert plant, but it's never anything I ever really gave any thought as to, how, where they actually are from and how the hell they got here. But highly recommend, if you're all interested in that sort of thing, I highly recommend checking it out. It's on the City of Phoenix YouTube channel. And the only thing that's kind of sad is the original palm tree is long gone, and there's a lot of pictures of, and this was, in the late 1800s when it was first planted, and a lot of pictures of the woman who planted it, and the gorgeous house that it was in front of. And of course, that's long since been replaced by a building downtown. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty neat. So I don't know that this is faster, although I'll be honest, I'm kind of walking at a more leisurely pace than normal just because I'm enjoying the walk. But yeah, this is definitely a farther walk than what I usually do from the Thomas station, but probably taking a little bit longer, but I'm really enjoying it. I really enjoyed the walk down Vernon, and I did walk down the stretch of 3rd Street not too long ago, coming from McDowell, but while I was doing all the finally working on these sidewalks here. Sure love to know what the finished plan is for 3rd Street. 3rd Street's definitely due some renovations. In fact, I was reading a post on Reddit that was talking about, it was in our Phoenix, which of course I couldn't contribute to because I've been banned there for racist comments. Okay. Still to this day don't know what they consider to be a racist comment. But it's funny, it seems like everything is racist these days. So anyway, anyway, there's this raging debate about cyclists, as in bicyclists versus cars, and yeah, well, that's the opinion of a lot of car drivers that bicycles don't belong on the road, but the reality is that that's where they do belong. They don't belong on the sidewalk, and yeah, it can be kind of complicated. Anyway, there was somebody that was complaining about bicyclists using Central Avenue, because north and south on Central Avenue, between on either side of the tracks, there's only 2 narrow lanes, and there's not an obvious bicycle lane, but there are signs the whole length of Central, at least the Central corridor, between Camelback and downtown, that wow, they're replacing the entire sidewalk there. They do have signs that say that it is a bike route, designated bike route, and there are charros in the right lane indicating that the cars in the right lane are supposed to share that lane with bicycles. So yeah, pretty bold of the person that was in the car, complaining about bicycles being in an actual signed and designated bike route and bike lane. Sorry, that's what the signage says. If you don't like it, don't drive on that street. And then of course his comment was, well, why don't you just drive on 3rd Street or 3rd Avenue? And several people who like to bike responded with, those roads are rough as hell. And apparently they're finally doing something about it. And I'm at the clinic, so I got to wrap this up, but a little bit of extra trivia about 3rd Street. So the Valley Metro Light Rail that I am subjected to almost every day is not the original rail system in Phoenix. Phoenix had a rail system from the late 1800s through around the mid-1950s. And the line that went north and south across town, as much as across town existed back then, actually went on 3rd Street, right here, the route I've been walking. So now you know. Anyway, I'm wrapping this up. I was going to talk about some of the other stuff that I got done while I was riding the train. I did quite a bit done. Just some contact from jobs and stuff. I did get a definite no from Penske, which is not a big shock. But anyway, I'll explain more about that later. Thanks for coming along.